This is Red Tiger Toys. We look specifically at counterfeit and knockoff toys and figures currently on the market. And I want to look at the Tomashii Nations by Bandai. This is the Star Wars movie realization series. They have Darth Vader, they've got Boba Fett, and this is the Ashigaru Stormtrooper. Ashigaru simply means light soldier or foot soldier, appropriate for the Stormtrooper. The box design is amazing. It's just well designed and laid out. Mine has Japanese and English writing. It's a copy, it's a counterfeit of what would have been sold in Japan. It's got the Bandai and Tomashii Nations logo at the bottom right and the Disney logo on the side, just like the original. The photo quality, though, is poor, as if someone took the original, did a high image scan of it, and went ahead and reproduced the packaging. So this is a telltale sign that this is in fact a counterfeit. But I knew it was a counterfeit when I bought it. I wanted to see what was inside. When one opens the packaging, immediately you're struck by how amazing the detail is. It was designed by Takayuki Takeya and sculpted by Junichi Taniguchi. The design is just amazing, and the figure comes with a katana sheath, a matchlock blaster, and various hand formations. The figure comes safely protected in injected molded plastic, top and bottom. Looks like my blaster moved around a little bit in all the shuffling and the shipping. It'll survive a trip overseas if necessary. Underneath, you'll see the instruction manual for the different hand positions, how to sheath a katana, and where to place it on the figure. And it shows that the matchlock blaster can actually swivel. Mine does not, a product of it being a counterfeit. The instruction manual is one-sided, nothing on the inside, and it's in Japanese. Let's go ahead and take off the top. You can see that the armor and the accessories are well detailed. The matchlock blaster is just really well done, appropriate for a time period of being in a galaxy far, far away and a long, long time ago. You're definitely going to want to go over to Cool Collections and check out the review by Colin. He reviews an authentic figure and goes into great detail, and the video quality is just amazing. Here, we're just looking at the counterfeit model. So with this figure, the armor is just really well detailed, from the helmet, the kabuto, to the gloves, the armored gloves known as the Han Kote, and the chest armor, or the do, and the large shoulder pads called the sode. Everything is just really well done, but once again, this is the counterfeit model. So there's a drop-off in the quality of the painting. There's a drop-off in the quality of the plastics used. It's not going to last as long, for sure, guaranteed. There is softer plastic used for the armor, which helps in the articulation of the figure. I like the soft plastic pieces too. It helps with the articulation and the movement. It also helps with the longevity. Figures that are exposed to air or sunlight, they're going to go ahead and get more brittle. The deterioration of the plastic will go ahead and cause it to eventually become a lot less malleable, less bendable. You can see with the articulation, I can swivel it, and I can also rotate it. The arm as well as the shoulder, and it also at the wrist. So nicely done. The sode, the shoulder armor popped right off. So you can see the ball joint. I'll go ahead and put that right back on. With a counterfeit figure, you're probably looking at less quality plastics and materials. So the ball joint will probably hold the armor quite well, but after time, the wear and tear of the cheaper plastic, it probably won't stay on as easily. I'll probably have to apply some glue in the future. Knee joints bends really, really well. You can see the detail in the shin armor. You can see the detail in the foot. It'll swivel and rotate and bend also. So the counterfeit figure, once again, it articulates just like the original model. So we'll go ahead and articulate the character, the figure, and see if we can't get him to stand on his own. So if you're going to display him in a case or on a desk, let's see how well he does. If he can hold his own weight, or if he needs a stand. Here we go. Success. And here we go. His arm fell off. In trying to position him to look like the box art, his arm fell right off. Just came right off. And you can see how it was designed. It's got a little O-ring with this little plastic bolt that holds his arm to the shoulder. Just came right off. I didn't overextend him, didn't try to do anything fancy. Once again, the downsides of a counterfeit figure. So what I'll do is you can see the housing on the shoulder. The O-ring of the arm goes over that, and then this little plastic bolt goes right back into that. Definitely not a quality construction. It'll come right off, I know it. It's going to require some adhesive to keep it all together. I went ahead and put it back together, and I rotated the black arm sleeve to keep the bolt into place. You can see it there on the right. I'll replace the shoulder armor, and see if I can articulate it, or if it's just going to fall right off again in my hands. You can see the sleeve. That'll help the bolt stay in place. So here's the matchlock blaster. You can see there's a little hole where the flintlock was supposed to go, but it didn't come with the packaging, so it doesn't matter. It would have fallen off anyway. The matchlock blaster is an amalgamation of a Stormtrooper's blaster with an old flintlock look. It's really well designed. The katana comes with a sheath. The katana detail is really well done, from the handle to the blade itself. Just really well sculpted. The sheath is rather plain, just a simple brown piece of plastic, but it does insert, and it inserts relatively nicely and tightly. There's no looseness to it at all. So you can affix the katana sheath to the figure with this part here, but based on my arm experience, I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and forego doing that. Maybe I'll take a blow dryer to it first to soften it up, but if I try to insert that, I have a feeling that that bottom little tab would probably just shatter and fall right off. So once again, I'll apply a blow dryer to that to warm it up, to loosen it up, to soften it up, and see if that'll hold. So when I display it, I'll do a little preventive maintenance. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and remove the hand, the right hand, and that pops right off. Not necessarily a good thing. You can see it's got the ball joint, slips right into the hand, and I've got two hands to choose from, one with an extended finger, an extended trigger finger for the blaster, and one with an extended finger for simply just holding the sword. It's pretty easy to tell the difference. The one on the left for the sword, the one on the right for the blaster. So we'll go ahead and insert that right onto the ball joint, and it should slip right on. Definitely for a counterfeit figure, you want to be careful with any small pieces of plastic, any small extended pieces. The blaster fits right in, and the finger goes right into the trigger. Looks relatively nice. Here's a great shot of where the hole is missing for the flintlock. For the left hand, I'll choose this hand configuration. This looks like it would be used to hold a blaster. Alright, so here we go. The box image look. Let's see if we can get him to hold the blaster without his arms falling off. Okay, so making some progress here. Alright. Once again, this is to test the articulation. This is to see how the counterfeit figure holds up. I could probably squeeze that the blaster's front end into his hand a little bit more, but why risk a finger? There he is, right there. Not exactly like the picture, but I'll take it. Definitely something that could be displayed on a case, or in a case, or on a table somewhere. Not too bad, not too bad. Alright, so here's the figure. Something to note, the legs are not symmetrical. The right leg and the left leg, it's designed that way, so it's definitely not just in the counterfeit figure. It's specifically designed that way. Oh, there goes the leg. It's but a flesh wound. Here we go. So there's the ball joint that connects the leg to the hip. Popped right off. I may have given a little pressure, kind of squeezed the legs together, but with that little pressure, it popped right off. So this is what we're dealing with counterfeit figures. Acquiring a counterfeit figure is kind of like a like a bittersweet thing. You're like, yay, I got one for really, really cheap, and then you touch it and it falls apart in your hand. So I should be able to just go ahead and line up the ball in the socket, apply a little pressure, and we should be right back to where we started. So that's something you should definitely consider if you're thinking about acquiring one for yourself or as a gift. If you're buying it as a gift, you're essentially saying, hey, here's a really cool figure, but keep it in the package because if you touch it, it's going to fall apart. Oh, by the way, I love you. Yeah, try telling that to a 12-year-old boy. It'll speak volumes. All right, so we've got our Ashigaru's leg back on. I can still articulate it. I can pose it. I can move the foot. I can move the knee. I can move the hip. Everything seems to be right back to when it came out of the package. All right, so we fixed his leg, and he can still stand on his own. The figure stands at about 17 centimeters or 170 millimeters. So nice size. If it was taller, it'd be a lot more expensive. Inside of the box, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Nice little detail that they copied. Once again, counterfeit model. Let's go ahead and see if we can't put the katana in his hand. Let's see, I grab the right hand and inserts really, really well. Once again, being very, very cautious. Don't want to break or snap a finger off. It looks great. The katana looks great in the hand. Just really, really well designed. All right, you can see the detail in the katana. We went ahead and put in the right hand. We'll go ahead and put the right hand back onto the right arm and go ahead and finish our posing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pose the figure. Let's rotate his arms, get it to a place where we can just go ahead and make him look presentable on a cabinet space or display space. Making sure that sleeve is in the right position. So, there you go. The arm doesn't fall off. Well, oh, hey, and the other arm fell off. So, at this point in time, both our arms have fallen off. Once again, just simply trying to articulate the figure into a manageable pose so I can display him on a desk or display case. You can see the socket on the shoulder, on both shoulders now. I'll have to find the pieces, the bolts, the plastic little bolts that kind of keep that O-ring of the arm in place. All right, on a cooler note, he does have this little plastic thing on the back of his belt, maybe to hold the Death Star plans. I'm not sure. All right, so he's back to where he was. Reassembled him. Arms are in place. Right leg is in place. I think I'll go ahead and freeze him in carbonite before I break him further. I'll put the katana and the katana sheath and his matchlock blaster back. He's got, once again, the hands, and definitely not going to be playing with him anytime soon. All right, so let's head on over to eBay, and if I type in Samurai Stormtrooper Bandai, I should get plenty of hits. This is what's known as the gray market. This isn't a black market. Obviously, eBay is a reputable selling site, but what's happening is we're seeing a lot of illegitimate products sold on legitimate channels or through legitimate channels. I'm in China using a VPN going through Hong Kong, so everything's popping up with Hong Kong dollars. Just divide by 8, that'll give you a rough estimate of what prices look like. But when I click on it, it should default to US dollars. So here we go, Bandai Movie Realization, $27.99 and free shipping. Shipping nowadays from China or Hong Kong is a lot easier through something called ePacket. ePacket was designed to make international commerce a lot easier. Rule of thumb, a figure of this size will probably cost about $9 to ship. Something larger like a Play Arts Kai figure, that's probably about $20 to ship. So at $19.99, the seller is including the $9 of shipping, and basically he's selling the figure for $10. So when you go to eBay, you'll notice that the listings tell you they're from China, and that's the sign that it's a counterfeit model. Anything sold from China is counterfeit. Anything sold from the US or Japan, those are typically going to be the legitimate, authentic pieces. But you sometimes don't really know what you're going to get. The prices are all over the board simply because there's different storekeepers selling them for different prices. The more they buy, the less expensive they are. So it's all about profit margins. All right, so let's run over to Amazon.com, another legitimate site, but also being used to sell illegitimate products. But in this case, if I type in Bandai Stormtrooper, let's see, here's one, Bandai Tomashii Nations Movie Realization Ashigaru Stormtrooper. You can see with a price of $77.99, you'd assume that that's a legitimate action figure, and you can see the secondary market, people who've bought one or acquired one, and they're selling it now on a secondary market. All right, so living in China, I can acquire a counterfeit model for a lot less than $19. I'm going to go ahead and use Google Translator, type in the keyword Stormtrooper Samurai, and let Google translate that from English to Chinese. Go ahead and change that here. And what I'll do is I'll plug this into a site that we use all the time over here called Taobao. And opening this up, I'll go to Taobao.com, and up will pop anything related to Star Wars and samurais and stormtroopers. The wonderful thing about this is I can use Google Translate to go ahead and change everything from Chinese to English, anything that's text. Sometimes they advertise with graphical text, and it won't translate, of course. Alright, so Taobao is like the Chinese Amazon.com, actually more like the Chinese version of eBay without bidding and auctioning. These are established set prices, but since this is in Chinese yuan, divide everything by 6 and that will give you an idea of what things are going to cost. I'm not finding what I'm looking for, so I'll just add in a couple keywords. I'll type in Bandai and see what pops up here. Anything related to Bandai. Obviously, just like other marketing, they'll type in keywords to try to get as many hits. Here's a Bandai Darth Vader, 125 yuan. Divide that by 6, so it's about 20 bucks. So as I scan over this web page, it'll show more advertisements on the left and on the bottom, maybe other items that this particular store owner is selling. Anything and everything counterfeit can be found on Taobao for a fraction of the price. If I translate this into English, you can see exactly what it says, what they charge for shipping. Shipping is typically less than $5. So here it is, the Bandai famous series Star Wars Darth Vader 7-inch Ultra moving even hand to do free shipping boxed, and the color comes in famous Black Knight. They take all forms of payment. Taobao is a company that is associated with Alibaba. Alibaba was founded by Jack Ma. He's like a Chinese businessman that's worth about $23 billion. He's kind of like the Jeff Bezos of China. Jack Ma is revered here in China. You can read about his rags to riches story online, and recently he made some comments on the international media scene when he said that fake products and counterfeit products are better than the authentic ones. He made the comments in order to defend his platforms of Taobao and Alibaba selling a high volume of counterfeit products. Some reportedly say that up to 40% of what's on those platforms are counterfeit, anywhere from toys, handbags, clothes, food items, furniture, electronics. They're all counterfeit. And what we're looking at is a massive part of China's GDP actually being from counterfeit products. Reportedly up to almost 10% of their total GDP is counterfeit products. And whether it's a Bandai toy or an Apple Watch or an Apple iPhone, those comments by Jack Ma basically invite the counterfeit industry to continue to grow. They invite the gray market channels to grow and to facilitate the sale from China, mainland China, to America. And you can see from the video and from my own first-hand personal experience, the quality is definitely not the same. And are they using the real name? Absolutely. Bandai, Disney, all over the original packaging. Alright, so back to Taobao. You can see I can find the Ashigaru Stormtrooper for about 95 renminbi, or 95 yuan. Divide that by today's current exchange rate of 6.6, that's about $14.39. You can also see if I purchase more than 480 units, then the price drops to about $12.88. Alright, converting this to English, you can see Star Wars Stormtrooper animation SHF, famous Empire soldiers, white soldiers, can do hands. That's what it translates to. It's made here in Guangzhou in the Guangdong province. That's about a 30-minute drive from where I live. Alright, so in acquiring a counterfeit toy, one has to consider what are the long-term ramifications. You can see as new figures come out, avid toy collectors get excited. We're like, oh, I definitely want to get that, but do I go for the authentic or should I save some money and go for the counterfeit? Well, counterfeit toys are definitely part of a larger industry that could essentially erode genuine commerce. And as I close this video, definitely want to consider, where are you going to get your toys from? From an authentic seller or from a counterfeit marketplace? Buying counterfeit definitely has long-term effects on the economy. As we consider counterfeit toys, we need to know that counterfeit toys drive authentic toy prices higher. As companies see their profits diminish, they're going to go ahead and take those losses and pass it off to the consumer. So as counterfeit toys dilute their profit margins, upcoming toy releases, those will go ahead and have higher prices. Also of concern is the brand and reputation is at stake for a lot of companies, not only for the toy companies, but legitimate sellers, eBay, Amazon, etc. Now, Bandai is not going to get a bad rep because they're being counterfeited. What's going to happen is companies like Amazon and eBay, they're going to get the bad rep because they're being used as gray markets. And people are going to say, oh, you can only get fake stuff on those channels. The loss of income is in the billions of dollars annually. And once again, it's only recouped through increased sales prices. And finally, there's the idea of health concerns. Unsafe plastics, unsafe paints are being used, and these are toys that could be easily found in the hands of children or infants who obviously are going to put them in their mouths. So be safe, shop wisely. And check back with us in a few days for a review of a counterfeit PlayArts Kai Assassin's Creed Black Flag Edward Kenway.